Blog Talk Radio, the world's largest online radio network.
Hello, I am hoping this is you, Doug.
It is.
Oh, hi, how are you? I'm so
Fine,
happy.
How are you doing?
Do you know, I was looking back, and do you realize it's been 3 long years since we have spoken? That is too long. We're getting too old for this, Doug. We can't wait 3 years. We cannot wait 3 years for our next conversation. It's just too long.
Part of it was story related.
Oh, yeah, I said part of it was story related. How do you mean?
Well, you know, when you get a hot storyline, then there's something to talk about.
Oh, but Doug, come on! You and I can talk about anything. We love you even when there is no hot storyline. But God knows you have deserved a really hot storyline for a very long time.
It was great.
Yeah, and may I say, I am so glad that you got special dispensation to call from your jail cell. I'm very happy about that.
Well, I'm in those short-waisted orange jumper.
Yeah, it's not your color.
It's not my color, and it doesn't fit. That's the big thing.
Well, the other thing is it clashes with that suntan that you mysteriously got in jail. How did that happen?
Well, actually, it does fade because I tried to stay out of the sun once I was in jail.
Oh, you did, yeah. It's kind of hard, though. It's kind of hard living in California to stay out of the sun.
Especially in this weather.
Well, Doug, first of all, I am joining thousands of people that are absolutely mesmerized and awed by your amazing work. As Paul Williams, but as a father who, feels so much guilt and remorse over not raising his son. And then even though I think in your heart of hearts or in Paul's heart of hearts, he knows that Ricky was bad news, you still are filled with all of that remorse, and you're playing it so tenderly and in such a touching manner. It brings me to tears all the time, I have to tell you.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks. I'm glad I make you cry.
Well, no. I mean, that's our job is to.
I know. Is to
make you feel what our characters are feeling, and certainly it's been a tough time for Paul. It was, I think, the brainchild of Tony Marino, which is one of our producers, and he suggested it to the writing staff, and they ran with it. They wove it together in a pretty interesting fashion, creating a story for a bunch of veteran characters on the show, and it's been really fun to play with Laura Lee and Trish, and even Michelle when they put her into the brought up the hit and run thing again,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was good. I'm glad they brought that back because I am sure I'm not the only one that's sick to death of Phyllis getting away with murder. I'm sick of her. I want her to go to the big house, and I want her to stay there for a good long time.
Yeah, let her have a short-waisted orange jumper.
You know what? I think that orange jumper that you're wearing would probably fit her perfectly, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, I think it was Sharon's. I think we have one jumper.
Oh my God, that's so funny. You're right,
yeah.
And so many people get to wear it. I know. Yeah, this is something, as a very, very, very long time. We've talked about this before. I've been watching since 1975. Yes, I was a year old, but hey. I was very ahead of my time. And I have seen such a change over the years that, of course, has distressed me among many other long-time fans of the show. And even the sister show, Bold and Beautiful, the Bell dramas. And one thing that has distressed me is the last couple of years, it's turned into like a little CSI show. And, it's just like one jail thing after another. And Have you noticed that? Am I the only one here that's
Well,
like?
I don't. In the beginning, and when I started a couple of years after, three maybe after you started viewing, and it was a character-driven show, and it was about two or three families, either the Brooks and the Fosters and the Chancellors, or the Williams and the Abbotts and the Newmans, and it was about the trials and tribulations of the people in those families. And as it percolated through the last 12 years or so, through the hands of different head writers, I mean, let's see, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're up to 5 now. You know, and the first 25 years was all by the hand of Bill Bell. So you can't expect people to completely get inside the head of Mr. Bell,
No.
and they lean to where they function the best. They also that he created, and not an easy task even in those days, to create his own show and then maintain his own show, because he maintained the ability to do it by himself and not have any input from Sony or CBS or any other entity. So it was his baby, and he was given those reins, and he earned them, and that was that. But now it's a different story, you know.
Sure.
He's the guy that created the show, so everybody thinks they have an idea and a better idea than is what's happening, and it's really hard when you get so many chefs in the kitchen. So it's really hard to respond to that. Everyone that has had that position subsequent to Bill Bell has really tried to do their best and do what they thought. Some of it I agree with, some of it I don't agree with. But I never felt ever that anyone in that position was trying to ruin it or change it or. I think everyone had the best intentions of putting the best show on the air as they possibly could, and I think that continues today. We had an actors meeting that Jill Farron Phelps called, and with Josh Griffith, who has been there before.
Yeah.
He was writing under Lynn Latham, and then he helped us through a very, very difficult time during the writer's strike.
I remember that.
He turned core and gave up a lot of what he'd earned to keep the show on the air. And he knows the show, at least the last 6 years or so.
Sure.
I mean, whenever Lynn Latham started, that's when he started. So he knows characters. So it's not like we have a new head writer that doesn't know anything about the show. I don't really understand any of the politics that have gone into the change, or and it's not really my position to comment on it. I will say that Bill Bell Sr. gave me my start, and I am supremely loyal to him, his wife, and his family. So, but that being said, I know in my heart of hearts that he would want the best show possible, even beyond his time on Earth. So, and I have every expectation that Jill Farron Phelps and Josh Griffith will try and make it the best show they possibly know how to make it. And as far as the the decisions they make. They are empowered to make and follow what they think is the right thing to do. And as a company, I don't know that we have any choice but to remain united and stick together and continue to be loyal to our fans as they have been loyal to us.
Yeah, I agree. It's very distressing. There has been a recent report that the plan is to turn it into a whole different kind of a show than it used to be, and to kind of ease out the senior characters, which is very distressing.
I've only heard that from the internet. I've got to tell you that my conversations with Steve Kent at Sony and hearing what Jill had to say today, and also the way Josh Griffith writes, I haven't heard any of that from, or even CBS for that matter. So I don't know where it's coming from. They've had Hollywood Heights is not The Young and the Restless. But I do know that when I spoke with Steve Kent, he and I agreed on the fact that we need to be loyal to our longtime viewers.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if they're telling me what I want to hear, or it's how they honestly believe. But I felt each of those people were very sincere when they were speaking with me.
Well, and I agree with everything you say, being an outsider, just a viewer, but of course the viewers are what keeps the show on the air and makes it number one. I don't believe that any new head of a network or whatever would come in and cut off their nose to spite their face. They're going to have to appeal to a wide spectrum of people, and it would be a huge mistake to lose the longtime viewers, because the longtime viewers have grown up and brought their children into watching it, their children and so forth.
If the truth be known, and if the truth be known, that the only way we got young viewers was because they were sitting on the lap of their aunt or their grandmother or their mom, and somewhere along the line, corporate thinking didn't realize that that's how the tradition of watching daytime dramas happened. I mean, everybody, every young person I talk to, it's not a promo, it's not an ad, it's not a sexy face or a shirtless guy or a sexy broad. It's the fact that, my mom started me watching this, and it's the same story for my entire tenure on the show. It's always happened.
And
the other thing that we've talked about is you don't need to be one to want to be interested in one. And I mean that in the broadest sense. I remember going to malls across the country and having young 14-year-old girls that I thought were hot for me, and perhaps they were, but the question they would ask would be, what's Mrs. Chancellor really like? She reminds me like my grandmother, or so it doesn't really mean that you need a 14-year-old for a 14-year-old to watch. In the 70s, we had the largest African American viewing audience, and at that time, we had very few African Americans on the show. So it doesn't. It's a story. It's fiction. I'm not saying we shouldn't have them. I'm just saying that they enjoyed the show without having to relate to a quote unquote black storyline or right. Where they segment it now to attach it to I mean, we all can enjoy black storylines or white storylines or old storylines. Or
Yeah.
I think one of the most popular storylines in the 90s was the one where we had a bunch of old folks getting kicked out of their homes by a slumlord. And we had some of the cutest, charming, most charming
old people,
old people that
yeah.
everybody related to.
Exactly. And
so that's what I mean by it. You don't have to be one to relate to one.
And you're right. And, I first learned about soap operas from my grandmother, who watched As the World Turns. And I would hear that organ play or whatever it was back in the day when I was a little kid. And I would sit down when I was at her house and watch it with her. And I found myself as a child even thinking, oh, I can't wait to see what's going to happen tomorrow. And so then you grow up and there's a lot more to choose from, and you kind of pick and choose, and you get into these characters, although they're not real family, they become, you know them so well after watching.
I get letters saying that I miss seeing my faces.
Yes.
And it's as simple as that. You get to know these people. They know how Paul's going to react. They know how Victor's going to react. They know how Nikki's going to react, because they are like family.
Yeah,
you're in their living room. I totally agree.
And so that's why it's just sometimes a slap in the face of the viewers who have watched for a long time to all of a sudden rewrite a character's whole persona, and you're saying, wait a minute, that's not what this person would do. So that gets a little frustrating, and that does happen.
I will say, and not in support, but in forgiveness, that there are so many people making so many demands on what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do, and you can't do this and you can't do that. So what happens is they try and please everybody, and it puts them in a very difficult position.
Sure.
So and that goes back to what I was saying earlier about, I don't think there was anyone that held that position that really didn't try and do their best and please everybody. But you can't do it. The thing was, Bill Bell was king, and nobody told him what to do. And he came in with things written on his napkins and his hand, but he's one in a million.
Yeah,
he's one in a million.
Sure,
I don't know how to say it any differently. That you don't. He was strong when he had to be, and compassionate when he had to be. We were lucky to have him as long as we did.
Oh God, yes. I mean, he's amazing, absolutely amazing. I am very happy, though, that they have brought back some characters, like, for example, Nina. Trisha Cass has always been an amazing actress, but, the thing that I'm concerned about, Doug, is we've talked about this 3 years ago, and I have to admit I still don't think it's happened, but maybe you can enlighten me. Has Paul gotten laid yet?
I don't think so.
Oh my God!
I wish that were the case, but
it's not right. Victor can go off and marry a woman that's a third his age, and they'll still show him carrying him up the stairs and everything. Paul doesn't get anybody. I mean, what happens to Nina? She comes and she goes. She comes and she goes. And I mean, you need to have a serious throwdown, Doug. You need to have a throwdown, and I mean in every sense of the word. You need to have a throwdown with Nina and just.
Here's a little picadillo I have. How many people? Why do we have to make love on sofas? Why do adult people have to make love on sofas?
Well, and why? I mean, they be glad that they don't have you in the dumpster like Phyllis and Deacon. They did it on top of a dumpster. I mean, my God, imagine what that would do to your back.
Especially if it were trash day.
No, especially, if trash had already been picked up, you got nothing. You got nothing to rest on. Yeah, I mean, that's really, really bad. So now Paul is in the big house. he's decided that he wants to be
Well,
punished.
I'm just at the station, I think, aren't I?
Well, yeah, you haven't actually
Yeah,
gone.
I haven't gone to prison yet. I'm just at the station.
But you want to go to the big house, but Paul, then you got to worry about holding on to the soap. You got to worry about so many things once you get there. Yeah, why do you can't, Doug? You cannot let them send Paul to the big house. I think switch out the jumpsuit, switch it out with Sharon, Sharon's going to get into something now too. I see where she's going to try and go head to head with Victor. Good luck on that. But just switch him out with Phyllis, who has deserved to be in there for many years, and nobody will miss her. And you can go on and get Nina in a throwdown. I mean, that's what we really get you out of jail, out of that disgusting orange jumpsuit, and into the sack. And hopefully it's something softer than a dumpster.
And not a sofa.
Yes, exactly. We have a caller, Pam, who's been holding on so patiently. Pam, say hi to Doug. I know you've been waiting patiently.
Is that Pam Rogers?
Yes,
it is, Doug. How'd you guess?
Okay. I thought it might be. Hi, baby.
Hi, how are you?
How are you doing?
Good. You know what? Trisha's husband's in town tonight.
Your what?
Trisha Cass' husband is in town tonight, Bat McGrath.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's a kick in the pants.
He's at Sonnenberg Gardens in Canandaigua.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So how did you know
so
this
how
was
are you
me
doing?
on hold?
What?
Doug, how did you know this was me on hold when you said Pam Rogers?
Well, I don't know. I have angels.
God.
Well, I said it was Pam. I said it was Pam, and he just said, "Is it Pam Rogers?" That's why.
Yeah.
I know, it's funny.
So
you know how long I've been
guess.
writing to you? I've been writing to you for,
we've
oh
been
my God.
buddies for a while. Isn't that right, Pam?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
And my son said to say hi to you, Philip and Tyler.
Okay.
Yep, Phil's going to be 29 the day before, the day after your birthday. Yours is the 24th, his is
The
the
25th. That's Jeannie Cooper.
Yeah. Yep. And Tyler just turned 27 in March. How old is Calissa and Caden now?
My daughter's 22, and my son is 20.
Wow. Time flies by, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Wow.
It really does.
It's kind of hard to believe. How's that possible, Doug? I mean, you're only 37 yourself.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
That's still okay.
How's your lovely wife
That's how
doing?
virile I am.
How's Cindy doing?
Well, it's a different time in our lives, if I might be quite frank. I've got we've got my 96-year-old dad living with us now, and there are soaps aren't what they used to be, so there are brand new economic constraints. So it all continues. I'm either working on the show or mowing the lawn or watching my dad. There's always something. There's not much time for recreating anymore.
That's
my question is, career-wise, is there something that you haven't done yet that you would like to do?
Retire?
No,
affordably?
I won't see you on TV anymore. No, not yet.
Yeah, I'd love to do stuff that can pay the bills, whatever that be. Yeah. So whether it's television or movies or radio or blog talk or whatever.
Yeah.
I love the show, and it's certainly a home. I've been there for I think we're going on 35 years. So I guess you wonder if that was misplaced loyalty at some point, but we kind of go with the flow and see how it goes. It is, and I'm sure I speak for most of America in that it feels like so much of it is out of our control, and so you need to take counsel with oneself and hold on to faith, which is we talked about this 3 years ago, but where faith and fear can't exist in the same spot, and fear is so negative that even in the darkest moments, and I think you'll hear this from the most successful people in the world, that even in their darkest moments, they knew everything was going to turn out, and I think turn out okay, and I think that's the message from Jesus and Buddha and Muhammad and any other religious leader, that you need to hold on to what you truly believe in and hope for the best.
Okay.
I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. Pam, what are you hoping to happen with the show? What do you want to see changed? Not that we can do it, but...
Well, I'll have more of Doug. Like, I mean, the things he's doing, I mean, when it comes to Emmy time next year, if you don't win...
Oh, for God's sakes.
I'm going to scream. I'm going to be screaming my head off.
There's going to be a lot of people
freaking
going
nominated.
postal.
You know, if I have to go to LA to nominate you myself, I will go out there to do it. You really? I'm serious.
You're such a doll.
For getting nominated, he better win. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
I mean, there's.
Well, I've tried before. I've done my best.
I hope they don't. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I hope we have a ceremony.
Yeah. That's the big thing. We got to worry about that. You know, Doug, I was just thinking, absolute worst case scenario, if you need to get creative about, getting some kind of bringing money in, we never know what's going to happen, even though we have faith. We know, we can always, you might do what, there's a guy that advertised on Craigslist, and this is really pretty ingenious. He's renting out one half of a queen-size bed for $450 a month on Nob Hill in San Francisco. And he's renting out one half of a queen-size bed, and he specifies no couples, no guests, and it includes limited shared use of the kitchen, extending only to the microwave and toaster, but apparently offers unlimited snoring. Conveniently located.
Oh my God.
And it's available starting this month. And it says the good news is that in September they'll be partitioning off part of the living room for $585 a month. So, $450 you can get a half of a
So you're sleeping next to this person?
Yes. And you know how they show a picture of a queen-size bed with king-size pillows down the middle.
Oh, my.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do, don't you?
Well,
you do what you got to do.
I got a king size.
Well, there you go. Well, I mean, how's Cindy going to feel about that?
It's not on Nob Hill, though. Isn't it? I'm hoping it's in San Francisco, because otherwise it would take a rather odd connotation.
Doug, how many years have you been married for?
Pretty.
25, maybe? 26?
No, 28.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Oh, is that really?
28.
Wow. 28?
Well, I'm bad at math. We got married in 1984, and we had our anniversary in May. Was that 28 years or 27? I think it was our 27.
Wow.
Long time.
And I found out that the lovely Cindy is a Leo like myself. So we rock.
Yeah, she's amazing. She is.
Olivia,
she
do you remember when she was on the show?
Yeah.
What? I do.
She was on the show.
She was on the show, and she
Couple
played like
times.
a school teacher. She played like a school teacher. They married him, and then when she went to Paul's apartment, it's like she totally changed. She got hot looking.
She clammed out.
Exactly. That was the best job that she ever took because she met her future husband.
Well, actually, we were married already.
Oh, you were already married when she was on the show?
Well, she was on twice. She stole Victor's car in 1979.
But see, you weren't married yet then. Didn't she meet you through the show? Didn't she meet you through the show?
Well, then she came on and was part of the religious cult.
Yes. Oh, I remember.
Oh, yeah, I remember
Rico and all that.
Yep.
And then we got married, and then she came on as a school teacher. If I remember correctly, which is very possible.
Was the character's name Dana?
Yes.
Dana, yes.
Also. Yeah.
Pam, you're awesome.
I remember all that stuff, too. Going back, I remember all those early years. I remember how you first met Victor Newman was that he hired you to feed Michael in the cellar of his,
Well, first we met at a gas station, right?
Yes.
Because I was working at a gas station.
Yes, you were, yeah.
Yeah, and we were, the truth be known, we couldn't get through it without laughing. And he was wearing this big cowboy hat, and he covered his face with the brim of the hat because he was laughing. And I wasn't so lucky because I wasn't wearing a hat. So I got in trouble for laughing, and he didn't because he dipped his brow.
Well,
but that was a million years ago.
It was a million years ago, but I remember you coming down to the cellar with your little briefcase, and he had this big, I remember exactly what it looked like. It was all stone, big stone with a jail cell bars on it.
Yeah. Didn't we see them rats and stuff?
Yes, horrible things. And
yeah, wasn't it? And I think the actor was Nick Benedict.
Oh,
yeah. It was.
Yes, he had dark curly hair. I can just see him perfectly.
Yeah.
And I remember you doing that. And to imagine that you did that for him back in those days and turned out to be such an upstanding son murderer now.
Yes. No.
Oh, my God.
It almost sounds Korean.
And he was married to Julia, and he was so...
Julia
was a writer. Didn't she...
she became a writer after that.
Yeah.
On General Hospital. So her last gig was on General Hospital.
Well, I'm not saying it's hard to work with Eric, but he drove a very beautiful actress to become a writer.
Well, we already know it's hard with Victor Newman, so I don't know about Eric, but he plays the role very, very well, to be sure. And there are certain people we cannot and will not even consider the show without, and that is, of course, you are one of them. We want Nikki, we want you, we got to have Victor. Victor and Jack. I was watching it back when Jack was played by Terry Lester. God rest his soul. He died young. But I thought he did a good job too. But
he did a great job.
He did. He really played Smiling Jack up to the hilt. I thought he did great. So many different characters come and go, but our core characters we want to have. And in fact, now when you came onto the show in '78, had they already written off the Brooks family and the?
No, that came when the show went to an hour.
Okay.
It's all in the book. There's a book out about Bill Bell.
I know. I want to read that. I really do. I had to write it.
It tells you, and there's a pretty good story about what Paul did for him. And I didn't really understand it completely until, way after the fact. But he built a family around this character that didn't even have a last name in the 70s. And it was his spearhead into the hour.
Well, I know. Back then we had the Brooks and the Prentices. Lance Prentice went on to become Eric Forrester. So he went to the Sister Soap and even changed identities. But he was still Lance Prentice, and then there was Lucas, the son Luke. There was Lucas and Lance, and forgot who the father was, but that was the mother, Vanessa. She wore a veil over her face because she had been burned or something. That was some good writing back then, I gotta say. But
that's because Bill Bell was writing. That's why it was so good.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, really great.
Really, really good. But
I don't think anybody could ever in the industry beat his writing. Now, Doug, if you ever need a writer,
you can't really compare it to contemporary, because you have to understand the time period in which he wrote. So, I mean, looking at the shows now would do him a disservice, because you wouldn't understand the world at that time. But for those of us who remember the 70s and the and that period in the 80s, and he wrote specifically for his time period, and for a soap to be on cutting edge is pretty remarkable.
Absolutely.
And he got there, by saving days of our lives. He had 13 weeks to turn it around. He turned it around from the cellar to number one, and that's what enabled him to be able to write his own ticket at CBS.
Yeah. Well,
Doug, I have to get going.
But I mean, the guy's obsessed. The guy was obsessed. He wanted his show. I had envisioned him Christmas morning with his red flare pen in hand, while the kids are opening their packages. He's writing stories about all the characters on The Young and the Restless. And I think that's something that Lee understood and all his kids understood. That's just who he was. He was that focused.
Yeah, he was.
Well,
he
Doug,
was wonderful.
It's been a pleasure. I will go because I'm sure there's other callers that are waiting to talk to you. But thank you, and I love you to death.
Thanks so much for calling in and waiting and doing all that stuff. I love you.
Right.
Take care, and
okay.
And we'll talk via the internet
and Facebook.
Yeah.
Yes, it's always good. Good old Facebook. Thanks
so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you for calling.
Bye-bye.
I actually had 3 callers waiting for you before the show, and they haven't called back yet. They said, we'll call back. We'll call back in 15 minutes, so I don't know what happened, but hopefully they will. However, we do have a few questions from the chat room. What is your favorite all-time favorite guest star that you have had on The Young and the Restless?
Oh, wow.
There's been so many, I know.
All-time favorite guest star. I don't know. That's a tough question. Bonnie Franklin's on right now.
That's what I heard. We haven't seen her yet, but...
Yeah. And Cindy did a movie the week with her years and years ago, Sister Margaret and the Saturday Night Ladies, and it was really good. So let's see. Let's go beyond that. Go backwards in time.
Trying to think who else been on there. You know who I miss? You know who I'll always miss, and he wasn't a guest star, is I loved Douglas Austin. Michael, what was his name?
Michael Evans.
Yes, wasn't he wonderful? I loved him. And he brought a softer side to Victor. I liked their friendship.
It was the perfect foil.
It was a perfect foil because...
The minute they lost him, diminished Victor.
Yeah, really, because Victor
totally diminished Victor.
It did.
Because
you know what? He needed a good male friend.
It gave Victor a chance to be not a cartoon character, but a person.
Exactly. And I loved their little things that they would do together. And, it would be good to see Victor have a friend, a real friend. And Douglas was the perfect one for that. He was wonderful.
He called him on his faults. Excellent. I agree.
Yeah, he was wonderful.
That's Bill Bell again.
I know.
That's the counter, right?
Yep.
You need both sides. You need him to be the hard-ass businessman, and yet we get to see behind the curtain.
Yeah, I know.
And see his vulnerability.
Brilliant.
You need that in a story.
You do, because right now Victor is kind of this loose cannon. He's all over the board. I don't get him anymore. I really don't get him. And after seeing him for so many years, now I am just afraid, oh, please, God, they're not going to turn this into another he somehow got mugged and he has a memory loss thing. Because how many times are we going to use the same old things? You know,
well, we're in a power shift here, so nobody knows.
Oh, dear God. I hope not, because I know we saw him at the end of the show today walking on the docks, and we don't know if he knows who he is. He's got like a 3-day beard growth, and I don't know.
Which is not pretty for a German.
No. No, it isn't. It isn't pretty. Especially when you get to, a certain age, it's all gray. And, it just makes you look like a seedy old character, and instead of the rich power mogul that you are. Victor, no.
Yeah, I must say that when I try and do a little scruff, it makes me look homeless rather than sexy. So I try and keep it well clipped.
Oh, tell me something. How do you, now I'm asking you as an actor, because everybody has a different method, how do you start crying in these scenes? They're so emotional. How do you make yourself cry?
It's a big game of pretend. You trick your body into believing it's true. I mean, that's what I do. It's for me, it's all truth. If I don't believe it, I don't expect anyone else to believe it. So,
so you
when I was going through all of this, I spent a lot of time at CBS. I would treat it like a movie set on location, where I wouldn't get too far away from it. So it became my reality. I lived in my dressing room, and I worked, and the consecutive days I'd spend there. And if I had 3 or 4 days off, then I would go home. But I would never get. I would spend my evening learning lines and figuring out where I was coming from, and then so that was pretty much what I was doing and what I enjoy. It was a pleasure after being on the sidelines for so long to have something to do.
Oh, me.
Hello? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hello?
Hi, everybody. I lost Doug, and I don't have his number, so I'm hoping he will call back in. So, gosh, I hope. Happened all of a sudden. He was calling from a private number, so I don't know what it is. I can't call him because I don't have the number that he called from. I have his old number, but we'll wait a couple minutes and see if he calls in. In the meantime, while I'm waiting, I'm going to quick run off an email to his wife, and hopefully okay, I will check and see now. No, he hasn't called back yet. Oh, gosh, Doug, call back. I would think he would have called back right away. I sent her a quick email. So in the meantime, I'm going to tell you about my show for Sunday. I have my Art of Living show Sunday, and I have the wonderful Simon Majumdar back. He was on the show one other time. He's absolutely wonderful. He is going to be a guest judge on Extreme Chef, which starts this next week, I believe, on Thursday. Could be the week after. It's Thursday the 16th, I believe, on Food Network. He has some other shows he's going to be doing as well. I think we have Doug back.
Yeah, you do.
Hello. Oh, Doug, I don't know. See, I lost.
What happened?
Okay, this hasn't happened for a long time, but I got dropped and you were still there, and there was no way for me to tell you. If that ever happens again, I called right back. So, just have no fear.
Okay.
We shall.
I had to go back to where the number was and dial you back.
But
here we are.
Yeah, because I couldn't call you because I don't have your number.
Yeah.
But anyhow, we're back, and now it was my old.
That's because I'm elusive. I'm an elusive daytime star.
The elusive butterfly. I know you are. You're so elusive. So we were talking about the. You actually are able to immerse yourself into that character and feel what he's feeling. So you actually become that character, and you are that.
Yeah. What you do is you fool your body that all that is true, and that's part of what all artists do in one way or another. They reach down into that dark place where. It doesn't make for good leaders or politicians or therapists, or because you play into the human weakness.
Yeah.
And I thought, regardless of what you think of Maria and her writing staff, but it was pretty easy for me to attach myself to that position.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was well structured. I thought it was entertaining, and I thought it was using veterans of the show.
I love that. I
yeah.
love bringing Chris back, which, by the way, I want to know if she has a picture in the basement somewhere. Because she never changes. She looks just like she did when she was Cricket Blake. What happened? She's not there.
Cricket Blair, yeah. No, I know.
Cricket Blair.
It is, it must be clean living. I don't know. She looks great. She's fun. We're still friends. We trade parenting advice and things like that. She's not in that often.
Yeah,
and I don't know
in this
next incarnation that she will appear, but she's certainly always welcome where I'm positioned. We had some really fun scenes together, and we're still taping Maria's shows.
Oh, so that's good. Well, I know.
I don't know for how much longer. We've got a hiatus coming up. Then we work for a week. We have a 10,000 episode celebration at the Paley Center in Beverly Hills, and then we have another hiatus week, and then probably the new regime will be in full force taking over, and we'll see what happens. But I got to tell you, from my meeting today and from the cast meeting, that we might be in good hands.
Yeah, I hope so. And I love bringing the characters back. I loved bringing Nina back. I like that you have a really nice front burner, meaty storyline, because you're just such a wasted talent to just be going around doing these little background security checks and stuff. And so I think that they're going to realize by the popularity.
That's really hard to do, by the way.
I know.
Those little things.
And you're so good at it. You are so good at it, Doug. I mean, I would hire you. I would hire you if I needed the goods on somebody. In fact, I need the goods on somebody. Can I hire you? That's the question.
Yes.
I really. Oh, good. Because there's nobody.
Hopefully not, because hopefully I'll be too busy taping shows for The Young and the Restless.
Do you know, though, Doug, you were talking about, if the shit hits the fan, which, of course, we're not even going to think in those terms, and you need to, increase your income, you could always become a real private detective. You've learned so much already.
Yeah, I thought about that, too. Well, Cindy and I came up with a concept where my best friend is Rick Springfield, right?
Uh-huh.
And he's not a spring chicken either. So I thought about creating a show which encapsulates an old rock star and a TV private detective, and they have to become an actual investigative team, and it probably would be a comedy.
Oh yeah, that would be great, and Rick would be great. Everybody loves you, and everybody still loves Rick too. So that would be great. I'd watch it. Hey, absolutely.
Yeah, he's awesome. Right. He's such a great guy, and his wife Barbie is terrific too. Really great people.
We have callers that have been holding on before I got disconnected. So
put them on.
Okay, I know you're tired of talking to me.
It's rude to keep them holding. I don't want to keep them holding.
Wait a minute, you're sick of me already? Oh, Doug,
no.
We've been through together. Okay, 204, you are on the air with Doug Davidson. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Hi, it's Alan McLaren. I'm calling from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Doug, I'm one of your Facebook friends.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, we've sent some messages back.
I love Canada. In fact, if they cut my pay anymore, I want to come up there and work.
Okay.
If you'll have me.
Right, exactly. I just wanted to say that you've done some wonderful work lately on The Young and the Restless, and I absolutely just love everything that you've done. And I've been listening to your show for a while. Yeah, it's been really great. One thing I've noticed is that it's like you used to be on a lot more, but now that you're on a lot less, it seems like you've gotten deeper work. It's kind of like a catch-22. I wish that they could just have you on all the time and give you deeper work.
Me too. Yeah.
I mean,
we're in line with that.
Yeah, all your
friends. It is there's a couple of factors I think that are involved in that, and one is just plain aging. You lose your mom and your dad ages, and you wonder about what life is about, and your whole perspective changes. Your kids get older, they still don't listen to you, my wife was taking a drawing class, and she had a teacher that said, "You can't become a true artist until you're over 40."
Absolutely.
And it offended me at the time, but as I passed over 40, I understood the definition of what he was talking about. And I think part of that is true. You need just time on the planet to realize what being human is all about.
I agree. You need to you need life experience, and that only comes with age. You need to. We're none of us the same people we were 5 or 10 years ago. Never mind 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
Yeah, or 15 minutes.
Yeah, well,
you change his.
In fact, who the hell am I talking to? Who are you?
Olivia.
What am I doing on this? Who are you people?
I wanted to ask.
Maybe.
Sorry, I want to ask.
Go ahead.
Let's
say again. I didn't hear that.
Oh, I said I just want to ask you some quick questions, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay. Have you ever been to the real-life Genoa City?
No.
Okay.
I've seen pictures.
Okay.
It's a cow town.
Okay.
It looks less like Chicago than you might think.
Like Geneva.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I've been there.
Oh, you have?
Mm-hmm. I used to live in Wisconsin, and So anyhow, go ahead.
Yeah, the Bells used to have a house on Lake Geneva.
Mm-hmm. And that was the inspiration for Genoa City.
Right, because it was one of the towns on the way there. And I think, character name, bearded sailor fellow.
Way back at Lucas,
yes.
Lucas
had a boathouse on Lake Geneva.
Yeah, he did. Lucas Prentice.
Yeah.
See, now, did I just prove how long I've been watching this show?
Yes, you did.
Go. Yes, okay.
Oh.
Go
I'm
ahead.
clapping.
Okay. Have you ever experienced or talked to any real-life private investigators?
Yes, because I was trying to find Carolyn Conwell, the woman that played Mary Williams, and all the numbers I called were no good. And on Rick's cruise, some of the people on there were ex-police chiefs and present private investigators. And so I talked to them about trying to track her down.
Okay. Oh, awesome.
So, yes.
Yeah, I think, like I said before, I mean, we're all rooting for your character to get more story, and we want all of them, not just you, I'll just use the characters' names. We want Lauren more in the mix. We want Michael. We want Neil, and everybody. I think Young and the Restless is one of the shows that actually, the power base, and I think the whole, if you have to put it all, is the veterans. We really want the veterans. I mean, you need new people too. You need new blood, but to be integrated. Like, it's been very well integrated with you and Heather. But the one thing I wish that they would get Heather to call Paul Dad more. That's the only thing. It changed her last.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that too. I'll pass that on to Jennifer.
Especially now that she is getting closer to him and she's seeing how much she really does love him and care about him with this murder case and everything. It would be nice if just, one time she's leaving the room or something, she says Paul, and then she turns around and says Dad. I mean, that would be so meaningful. That would just bring everybody to tears. I need to write for this show. Hire me.
Yeah, so do I.
I would make I'd cry every day.
Right, and I just want to say one last thing to Doug just before I let you go, so the other callers can get on. Doug, you are the father, husband, brother, castmate, and performer that we all deserve. God bless you, and I hope everything goes well for you, and we'll keep in touch with Facebook as we do. I know that you can't get back to everybody, but I always leave signs of encouragement. Thank you very much.
I try my best. I really do.
All right.
Oh, you're so sweet.
All right, then.
Thank you,
Thanks so much. Love you.
Bye-bye. Okay.
Oh, that's so great. That makes all the pain and anxiety and worry and fret worthwhile.
Well, and
I got to say that all those people on Facebook and wherever they are, in the tough, dark times when I'm not written in, and they're supportive, and it's awesome. It really it buoys me to continue the fight. It really is inspiring.
And another thing I wanted to say to Alan when he was on the line, and I'm sure everybody in the chat room will echo with me, if you want something to happen, you have to get behind it and write letters. They're going to listen. If there's enough letters making enough of the same requests, they're going to pay attention. And, you've got to do the walk, not just talk the talk. You got to get out there and do the walk, write letters to support the show, and write letters to say what you feel as a longtime listener and viewer that you really want to see. I mean, seriously, you can't just be passive and say, when something goes the way of the dinosaur, gee, I'm really sorry to see that happen. I loved it so much. Well, if you love something so much, put your passion behind helping to save it and make it better. I'm off my soapbox. We have another call from 610. Hello.
Well, hello, my dear friend Olivia. It's Rodney. Hi, Doug.
Oh, Rodney.
Hi.
Rodney,
How are you? Yes, this is me. I talked to Doug about in 2010 on your show. Hopefully you remember me, Doug.
Yeah. Rodney, it was 2009. I just looked it up, and it was almost a year.
Was it 2009?
Within a week. It was a whole 3 years already.
Yes, I waited patiently. I almost forgot about the show. Thankfully, I check Olivia's page religiously because she's such a dear friend. And I remembered that it was tonight.
Excellent, Rodney.
I have to tell you, Doug, I have to tell you. I'm not going to take up too much time because I know Olivia has other callers, but I just wanted you to know I remembered the message that you sent, speaking of when you said about the Facebook and it buoys you to. I just respect you so much as an actor, and just not only as that, as like a person, just from the context of your messages that you write to your fans. It's like you're very philanthropic. You're very philosophical. Like I remember the book you recommended me to read, and you're just a very yes, I loved it. You're just a very interesting, intrepid individual, and you're a core cast member for that show. And I just need to tell you, no matter what role or capacity they keep you on in that show, I just hope they continue to keep you no matter what, because you, like Scott Reeves, I've been watching this show for years, and I've seen many actors come and go, but I've never seen anyone that has had the acting caliber that you've exhibited while you've been on that show.
Oh, Rodney, that's awesome.
And I just want you to know that. Melody Thomas Scott, I love her. I'm coming to California the last week in August because I won a contest with Michael Muni, and I'm having lunch with him. But
I didn't know. Michael Muni. Goody.
It was for
let me know when you come out.
He did, and I absolutely will. So last week in August, and I won a charity because I did a bid, and I support everything like that. And I wasn't able to go due to work because I work in the medical field. So his, publicist wrote me back and was like, due to you not being able to come, I'm so sorry. And I was like, I don't even want my money back. I just want to be able to meet him. I don't care if it's 6 years from now. It doesn't matter. I just always contribute. My sister died from cancer at 19. Olivia knows that. And I just always contribute to things like that. But I was like, it doesn't matter if it's a year from now, but I had to tell you that because I think that actors are very, some of them are so underrated and people don't appreciate their art and their talent, and you need to know that.
Thanks, Rodney. I truly appreciate that.
Yeah, I had cancer too, Rodney, so...
I remember. I didn't want to say it, but I remember, and Olivia really reached out to me during that time, and I appreciate that, Olivia, more than you know.
Oh, sure. Well, yeah,
Rodney, send me a message on Facebook when you're coming out.
I will.
Maybe we can hook up or something.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Rodney, I want you to talk to Michael Mooney because I
want to call you while I'm meeting him so he can talk to you.
Well, I'll tell you, Rodney, because his publicist promised him on my show, and then he went back and forth, and I haven't gotten him on yet. So
I know that you wanted to meet him for a while, and I want to call you while I'm with him because I know I wanted you to have him on the show.
Well, you tell him he needs to be on the show.
I absolutely will.
Look at how much fun Doug's having, right, Doug? I mean, please.
Oh,
you have the best show ever,
you
Olivia.
Can't see me now. I got a party hat on, streamers.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah.
We have so much fun, and that's just. I'll tell you my pinnacle Y&R guest, besides, of course, Doug, whom I love dearly, and he knows because he was like the first that I ever wanted to have on. And I think you were maybe the first or the second I ever had on. Because, do you remember, Doug, the first time that you were on the show and you called in before the show started, and I said, oh, my God, it's Paul Williams. I was just so beside myself because I heard your voice, and after watching you for so many years, I was like starstruck. I'm like, oh, my God, it's Paul Williams. I can't believe it. But another person that I really want to get on so bad is Jean Cooper. We would so have.
Oh, I love her.
Oh, she's fabulous.
I love that woman. I think we would laugh up a storm. I think we would have a good old time together. I really do.
And you've had no luck yet?
No, I have no luck getting anybody to respond to me. So I'm really depressed. I want to. I know she'd have a good time. I know she would.
I will absolutely mention that to him as soon as I see him, Olivia, for you. I know you've wanted him on the show for a while, and you're the best. He needs to be on the show. Hello.
Thank you. Oh, Rodney, you're too sweet. You're
I'm
great.
not going to take up any more time. I know you have other callers, but Doug, you had to know that I really needed you to hear that tonight.
I can't tell you how much that means to me. It really does.
Olivia, I love you very much. Doug, I just sent you a message actually letting you know exactly when I'm going to be in LA.
Okay. And can I contact you through that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I put my number in it and everything.
Oh, Rodney, I'm so jealous you're going to meet Doug before I do. I'm just so jealous.
I'm going to take pictures.
Oh, I know, but that's not the same thing.
I know.
It's good. It's good. Pictures are good.
Well, at least I can get you to talk to Michael. I'm going to try my best to get him to say yes to your show. I'm going to try to blackmail him. You need to be a writer on the show, Olivia. You really, really do. I'm serious. I need to create a fan page. I'm going to create a fan page just for you for that.
Actually, Doug, remember the first or second time you were on the show, I was talking about that. You said, yeah, you should submit some stuff. You should be a writer for the show. I have so many good storylines that would keep with the characters.
I think the twists and turns would be awesome that you would create.
Nobody would see them coming. Nobody would see them coming. It would not be one of these rehashes that they're, I know what's going to happen. I know how it's going to wind up because.
What have you done to try and get them read?
Well, I haven't had time, but I'm going to because I really think, especially now, it's time for
Rodney,
Wilder.
I think she should read the book I recommended, don't you? Rodney?
I'm sorry. I didn't hear what you said.
I think she should read the book I recommended.
Well, I don't remember.
Olivia, you have to.
What is the book?
And then maybe she would have time to submit her stories.
Oh my goodness.
I will make time because I know, Doug, I've been going through a kind of a spiritual odyssey the last year. I've lost a lot of friends. People have died. And
it's called Think and Grow Rich, Olivia. Think and Grow Rich. You have to.
Rodney, you're my man.
I listen to what you say.
That's awesome.
Been working on my spiritual quest. I went to Assisi, Italy on a silent spiritual retreat over Christmas all by myself. It was quite an
Think and Grow Rich is a spiritual odyssey.
I know.
It totally is.
I'm ready for that. I'm Think and Grow Rich. Do you know
Napoleon
who wrote it?
Hill. He started writing it in 1917.
Oh my God! And you can still get it?
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's free. It's free on the internet.
Rich Napoleon Hill.
Yep.
Napoleon. I'm typing it right now. Hill.
And that was from a 2009 Facebook message, Olivia, November 24th of 2009.
Oh, I love Rodney. I love
Amazon for $5 or $7. You know I don't forget stuff like that.
But it's also on the internet. You can read it off the web for free.
Yes. Okay. Now, Site Advocate says Paul and Nikki should have married back in 2009. 2009.
That was her fault. Left me at the altar.
Nikki, I don't know. I have to say, much as I love Jack, I don't see any chemistry between them whatsoever. I don't like them together. She deserves the mustache. Let's face it. Just, put them back together and let Sharon go wreak some trouble elsewhere. I see Sharon and what's his name? Oh God, I just forgot his name. Come on, help me, Rodney. The rich guy. The one that was with Ashley, that was married to Ashley. I just got a brain fart.
Are you talking about Don Diamond?
Tucker? You're talking about Tucker?
Tucker McCall. I can see Sharon and Tucker McCall getting some hot.
Oh, that would be hot.
Yeah, because she likes older men. She does. She's looking for that.
I would love to see how you would spin that storyline, Olivia. I would love to see where you would take that.
I mean, come on, let's just put it out there. She's a slut pig. She's a slut pig.
I don't think Jill would like it. Jill wouldn't like it too much.
Well,
Jill's been away for a while.
Jill's been away for way too long. Where the heck is Jill?
Yeah, are they going to bring her back, or is she just done?
I think she asked for 6 months off.
Okay.
So I don't know. What's going on. I think that was voluntary, though.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope she does come back. I know Eileen didn't ask for 6 months off. That was kind of a surprise. So
yeah.
I was sorry to see her go, but I would like, I don't know, Sharon. I think Sharon should go back and live on the farm with that guy. You know, pick some hay out. Go back and live on the farm and pick hay seeds out of her teeth.
She'd be so it's in seclusion then.
Yeah.
What, Rodney? What did you say?
I said she'd be in seclusion then.
Yeah.
It was awesome to see those scenes, though, with her. They had a good chemistry. I must say that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they really did. She's a wonderful actress, and she, of course, was the Ashley. I always loved her as Ashley. She's
I think the Ashley comes under the heading of core family, and to get rid of Ashley is counterproductive.
Oh, which reminds me, I was so happy to see Beth Maitland coming back occasionally. I love Tracy. Tracy.
Awesome.
She's such a wonderful actress. She's a wonderful actress. And I like, excuse me for saying this, I like to see somebody on the show that doesn't have abs of steel. I mean, let's be real. In the real world, we're not all, modeled out of clay and these perfect bodies. Tracy is a real deal.
I must say that there again is Bill Bell's genius.
I agree. And he even had a storyline about her weight problem way back when beginning. I remember that. But she's such a wonderful actress. She's just like she's a
really sweet person too.
Yeah, she's very, very good. I love.
You look her in the eye, and it comes right back. It's excellent.
She has wonderful, beautiful, soulful eyes. You can really see all of her emotion in her eyes, and I like people like that. You do too. And by the way, Doug, your eyes get really blue when you cry. So not that I'm saying you should cry all the time. I don't think you should cry all the time. I mean,
I don't either.
This is the reason why you need to write for the show, Olivia. That reason right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you can differentiate when actors need to and not to cry in excess and less than of. You need to be on the show.
Yeah, I think that's so true.
Okay, the first thing I would do is I'd send Sharon to jail.
Oh my God.
Not Sharon. I'm sorry. I keep saying Sharon. I would send Phyllis to jail.
Oh,
then
yeah, absolutely.
Eventually, Sharon would go live on the farm with the guy and pick hay seeds out of her teeth for a while so that we could get some other storyline going. One thing I would do is get rid of Daisy forever and ever. Amen. I don't ever want to see her face again on the show. We don't need Daisy back and that old thing, that old rehash. But
she comes back, by the way. She's a marvelous actress.
Whatever. But we need to get Paul laid is what we need. We need a hot chick for Paul. Let's see, who could we... how about Avery?
Yeah, she's great, too.
Mm-hmm.
She's a wonderful
Paul and
person.
Avery, what do you think, Rodney? Paul and Avery, can we do that? Well, how would that be? I think that might work.
I absolutely think that could work. You could spin that several ways. Olivia, I love your mind. It is so amazingly devious and so smart. It's insane.
This is what we'll do. Avery and Paul, hot times in the old cell tonight.
I love it. Think of what the Genoa City newspaper would have to say about that.
Yeah.
I love it. There'll be hot times.
Olivia, you're totally squandering your talent. I need you to really take this seriously. I need you to really write for the show, seriously.
And I have to say, as far as
you got to read the book, Rodney.
Olivia, you have to read the book. You have to read the book.
Yeah.
It changed my life. Seriously, you have to read the book.
3 Feet from Gold.
Oh my God, I'm going to. I need that in my life, you guys. I feel like this is a pivotal moment.
Once you start reading it, Olivia, you're going to have an epiphany like you've never had before. I can assure you of that.
I have a pivotal moment in my life right now with you.
Hey, Rodney, tell me about yourself. What do you do?
I am actually, I actually work in the medical field. I am a medical assistant. I'm going to medical school. I'm thinking about either pediatrics or oncology, obviously with my sister and stuff like that. But I definitely want to do something better. I want to give back. Like, when my patients come to see me, that's like, I don't lie to them. I keep it real with them, but I'm compassionate. It's not about a time frame. Oh, you're here for a 20-minute appointment. That's not what I'm about. Like, when they leave my office, like, they know that they're in the best hands possible, because I know what that's like to be on the other end and to see a family disintegrate. My sister died the day before my mom's birthday, and I can't even tell you on the phone what that did to my family. So I took a vow upon myself to personally put myself in someone else's shoes, to be on the other side and give that same compassion that other people gave to me, including Olivia, while I was going through that time, and even years after. This year will be 11 years since she died, and I still feel like I went to the Army for 5 years. I've been all over the world, but I feel like this is my passion. This is something that I need to do, and if it's a vessel through me, that after reading that book, like, if I can give back somehow, some way to someone else and be there for them the way other people were there for me, I think that it was all worth it. And I don't think that any of what I've done is...
What town do you hail from?
I am from Pennsylvania, little small town. I'm like about maybe 45 minutes outside of Philadelphia. But I'm currently in New York right now. Just took a vacation just to visit my cousin and some family. I'm very deeply family-oriented, so I feel like the medical field is where I need to be. I love babies, so it's between pediatrics and oncology and geriatrics. Like, I want to do all three.
How old are you?
I'm only 28. I'll be 29 on August 30th.
Awesome.
Such a baby.
I don't want to.
I don't want to put you guys on the spot or anything, in case you really feel like singing to me. My birthday is on Monday.
I will sing to you, Olivia. I'm an amazing singer.
I think both of you should sing Happy Birthday to me.
I'll follow you.
Come on,
okay.
Follow. Okay.
Your birthday's on Monday, Olivia?
Monday, August the 13th. Me, Alfred Hitchcock, Fidel Castro, and God help me, Danny Bonaducci.
Wow.
Oh my God.
I'm going to sing to you right now. Are you ready? Seriously.
Yeah, we're ready. Go.
I was born ready.
1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Olivia. Happy birthday to you.
Well, Rodney did a better job. But
no, you both did a beautiful job.
You are excellent, Doug. I wish I could have been on the cruise with you guys. I just
followed you, man.
Cruises and I'm jealous.
I just followed you, man.
Voice.
And you don't even know how happy I am that I didn't hear the second verse. How old are you?
I would never do that to you. That is so rude and inappropriate.
There's no way I'm going to tell you that. Because I don't like to lie. I don't like to lie. I love
Olivia, you're gorgeous. Stop it.
Yeah, I'm an old fart. I'm practically Gene Cooper's age, so don't even go there.
Where are you now? Are you in California?
I'm in Monterey Bay, beautiful Santa Cruz.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I am.
What's the weather like?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's so gorgeous. We had, finally the fog came in this morning. It's been kind of toasty the last few days, no fog in the morning. And, they usually call it foggus because it's so foggy up here. But there was such heavy fog this morning. I'm up on a hill, and there's an ocean view down below, and you could not even see the hill, never mind the ocean. So it was, it's beautiful right now. I'd say it's probably about 62 degrees. It's beautiful. Loving it. Instead of Scottsdale, Arizona, where it is actually Hotsdale, Arizona right now. So I'm glad to be away from there for a while. It's beautiful, though. Yeah.
I'm going to let you two go so you can take care of
Rodney, you're an awesome guy.
So thank you, Doug. I truly appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I sent you the message, and Olivia, I will talk to Mike.
Let's try and get together when you're here.
I hope so. I'll let you go. But congratulations on the 10,000, or is it 10,000?
Yeah.
Yes, congratulations.
I'm not sure what that means, but whatever.
So you both have a good night.
All right. Thanks, Rodney.
You're amazing.
And thanks for calling in.
Anytime. Bye, Olivia. Thanks for taking my call.
Bye. Love you,
Bye-bye.
Rodney.
Love you,
Safe
too.
travel. Bye.
Awesome.
Bye.
Oh, yeah, he is. He's great. He's a great guy, and wonderful Facebook friend, and I love what he's doing too, and I really believe in that myself, any kind of giving. I mean, giving is the best getting you'll ever have in your life. The more that you give, the more you get. And I mean, that is truer than true itself. It's, I find that the more that I can help people and the more that I can, put myself aside and do something for somebody, even if I don't want to, oh my gosh, so much more abundant good comes into your life from that. And that's not why I do it. It's just my nature. And it is Rodney's too, and it is yours too. I mean, you have that about you.
Love rules.
Love rules everything. Love is truly the answer to everything. That's why we're here.
Yeah. And it is truth.
To learn how to love and to love unconditionally, and then
Well, that's not easy, but yes.
Well, the thing is, so if you love unconditionally, which really is, when you think about it, Doug, is the true definition of love. There are no conditions. Mm-hmm. You just love. You just love them, and that is the true love. So when you actually truly love somebody that way, then you forgive them. You can't hold any kind of anger toward them. You accept them as they are. You forgive them. And it's so easy, when you start doing. This is something that I've been on the process of really, really learning in my trip to Assisi, to the spiritual silent. Can you imagine me silent for 8 days? But a silent spiritual retreat has really been monumental. And
that sounds awesome. I mean, that's where Francis is from, right?
Yes, and in fact, there is something so magical about Assisi that you go there, and the first night that I got to the place where it was a beautiful 300-year-old, immaculately restored, in the highest of quality farmhouse. It was very, very large. And the first night that I got there, or the next morning after our morning meditation, there was a couple that run this, and they're actually from California originally. They've been there for 25 years. Each one took each one of the people separately to talk to them and see, where they were coming from, what their purpose was for being there, and so forth. And I just, the night that I got there and the next morning, I was just crying all the time, and I didn't know why. So when I met with Ruth, I sat down. The first thing she said was she reached out and touched me. She says, I just have to tell you, and she says, I don't say this to everyone, but I want to tell you, I just love you. She said, you are such pure love energy that it just glows around you. And I started crying again. I went, oh, she says, she says, you just have such a loving heart. It's like an aura around you. And I said, I do. And I said, but I just feel like I want to cry all the time. She said, well, that is the magic of Assisi. People with a pure heart come here, and they're so overwhelmed by the unconditional love and the beauty of love and of life and of St. Francis and of the history and everything that they do find themselves. She says, Bruce and I have been here for over 20 years, and we're crying all the time. It just happens. So it was
awesome.
It was an amazing.
You have to send me stuff about that.
I will, and here's the other thing. What happened was, I didn't even know this, but the one over Christmas was their last retreat there, and they have someone else running their place now. And no. They opened a beautiful center in the Napa Valley. They came back to the United States, and they're doing it here. And oh my God, talk about the most beautiful, wonderful people. I mean, they are just pure spiritual beings that are just absolutely, they're not in it for money, they're not in it for anything but spirit in it. It was an amazing experience.
Well, there's wine in Napa and there's wine in Italy. There is
wine.
There is a connection.
And they have the wonderful, I was actually it's in Umbria, so I was actually just a little bit too late, as fate would have it, a day late and a dollar short for the truffle hunting season, but amazing.
Well, truffles don't move too fast. I could do that too.
No. They don't, but you know what they have there, Doug, is they have wild boars all over the place. And I went off for a long walk. We had a couple of days of rain, including over Christmas, and it was very muddy. So when I finally got off for a walk, I wanted to investigate this ruin that was up on the hill. It looked like a very old farmhouse and really, really old. And I walked way up this hill, and I got all muddy and everything, but I got way up there, and I looked down, and the place I was staying at looked like a little postage stamp. And so I'm up there, and I see these cloven hoof prints all over the place, and I'm thinking, oh my God, what are these? And I found out they were like 500-pound hogs that are wild boars that are all over the place.
Yeah, with
God.
tusks.
Yeah, with tusks. They're mean old guys. But it was. Yeah, you would love it. It really changed my life. We had spiritual yoga every day after our 1-hour silent meditation, and it really grounded me. And it has given me so much peace, in my life. And so it's something that, whenever I get really stressed, I can go to this place in my mind that they taught me how to go to, and it just melts everything away. And that would probably be a good thing for you. I
want to go there right now, actually.
Send you all that information. You would love it. You would absolutely love it, I know. So, so what about the storyline with Paul? How far in advance do you tape? I can never remember. They're always all different.
I don't know, because it's difficult for me to watch myself, so I don't.
Just question. Tricia wanted to know if you watch yourself, and do you watch any other soaps?
No.
No.
No on both.
Why do you not like to watch?
It brings in a whole other thing when you watch yourself, and it for me becomes less pure than it should be. I don't want to think about how it's going to appear when I'm working. And if I watch, I go, "Oh, I don't like how that looked."
I actually.
So I try not to go there. So when I step on stage, I just do what I feel and try not to be concerned about how it looks or how it appears. So no.
Actually, that does make a lot of sense, and you get really into the character, and you don't want to get out of that mindset, because then you're going to be Doug Davidson looking at Doug Davidson playing Paul Williams. Yeah, I really, that makes total sense to me. It really, really does. Is there, if you could be cast as any type of a character in a movie, who would you like to play opposite, and would you like to play comedy?
Oh, man. Comedy I love because it's harder than they think, and it's really fun. The problem is there are two. You don't want to get separated from the reality, and the funniest comedy is based on reality. So if you're doing it for giggles, it doesn't always ring true. So I think that for me, I always want to seek truth, whether it's humorous or dramatic or whatever it may be. It needs to strike the bone of reality.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's very, very true. And all really good humor is based on fact.
Yeah, it's got to be there.
Well, it's what we also, things that maybe sometimes we would never admit, but things we see in ourselves, and somebody actually put it out there, and you're like, oh God, I can so relate to that. It's hysterical. Sometimes you don't even want to laugh, but you have to because it's so damn funny.
Well, yeah, I haven't seen it, but what's the new Meryl Streep movie?
I saw it.
Is it
any good? It is called Hope Springs.
Yeah, Hope
Springs. I saw it the other day with my friend, and how I always gauge how much I like a movie is would I see it again. And as we were walking out, we were discussing it, and I said, I would not see it again. Now, I am actually, I know that I'm in the minority because critics are raving about it, and I have to say, how could you possibly fault Tommy Lee Jones, Meryl Streep, Steve Carell? You can't. Their performances are brilliant. The script, however, they deserved more, because what happened was they made it turned out that at the end you don't understand how within the last 10 minutes of the movie they got from point B to point C, and you're leaving thinking it's not something that you're curious enough to go back and see to see if you missed something, but it's something that leaves you confused and you're saying, what was that all about? The other thing that really bothered me was that, and brilliant again, absolutely brilliant, Tommy Lee Jones' character was so negative that it was just constant. It was just, and it just wore on me. I thought, oh my God. I'm thinking in my mind, why does she want to save this marriage? This man is so annoying. But again, brilliant performances, beautiful scenery. I love the actors. Did not like the script that much. I did not like, I was disappointed in that. But, they can make anything wonderful. If you're good enough, you can. I mean, let's face it. So that was my opinion. No, I would not see it again. The only movie that I saw actually it wasn't recently. My favorite movie of last year was The Way. Nobody even saw it. Best movie, period, bar none, last year. Martin Sheen, Emilio Estevez, best movie. But I can't really think of any movies I've seen recently this year that I would see again. Do you go to movies often?
No.
Do you like to go to movies, but you just don't have time, or you just don't really?
Yeah, at this time in my life, I have no. I explained I have no recreation time, so there's an imbalance, and that's just the way it is right now.
But you do like Netflix. If you have time, you wouldn't bother to go out. You just watch it.
Well, I don't. It's that simple.
Well, it's prioritizing. I mean, if you have no time, I'm not a person that watches movies at home. I've never used Netflix. I don't like to watch them on TV.
I do that a lot when I can, but I don't have time for that.
Yeah, I like the theater experience, but you're right. You only have so much time, and this storyline that you're playing must be exhausting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But that if as I explained earlier in the interview, that I'm either working at home in the garden or with my dad, or and Cindy too, or at work. It takes me 2 hours to get to work. It was actors meeting today. I left at 11, got home at 6:30.
Oh gosh!
It just doesn't end. And
You're
then
still
we've got kids.
Barbara.
We still try and guide.
Sure, of course.
As fruitless as that may seem. And it's what time is it? It's 8:34. I haven't eaten yet.
So, oh well, you're gonna go. Don't you worry. I'm not gonna. Now I'm feeling mean. I'm feeling like, oh, what a meanie I am.
I haven't poked my head in to see how my dad's doing.
So
it just keeps going.
And happy birthday to your dad. I thought that was so wonderful on Facebook the other day. God bless him, 96 years old. I am so happy that you have your dad still with you, that you can celebrate.
It's sad. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, because he doesn't remember stuff, and then he does, and he lives here. We see him all the time, and he goes, "My family doesn't visit me." Well, it's that's the tough part about being a relative, is that that hits a nerve, and when he's living in a home or something, that can be true, but it certainly isn't here. If he has a bad day, we all have a bad day.
Yeah, of course. But, you treasure these times you have with them. I don't have either of my parents anymore. And, you look back on those times that maybe weren't the easiest. And once they're not around anymore, you'd give anything to have those times back. So I know you already know that. And it's wonderful that that you have him, and you're a good.
Oh no, it's fabulous. I mean, it just
good son
it requires
and a good
it requires
and
you
father.
to be centered and understand that it's the thankless part that
sure.
egoless, the egoless part that you just let go, and all you try and do is, and that for me that comes and goes. Sometimes I'm overly selfish and can't help myself, and then I spend the next 3 days trying to forgive myself for being so obstinate and unfeeling, and I guess it's my part of life right now.
I'm going to send you the simple little thing that we would do every morning before our spiritual yoga. That is the thing that has grounded me and brought me back every time. And it's just a very simple little phrase, and I think that it will work for you. I'm going to send
awesome.
you that.
You should put it up for everybody too.
Well, it is. It's very simple, but the problem is, see, we become so wound up in our ego. Our ego is what we live in. We live in our ego, which is our mind. Our mind is ego. If we are living in our spirit, we're not thinking about yesterday. We're not thinking about tomorrow. We're not thinking about shoulda, coulda, woulda. We're not thinking about I want this. Why didn't that work out? We're just spirit. So to bring yourself back to spirit and to have your higher self, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, I believe in God, to be able to get that to come through all of this busyness of your ego. When you get a hunch, or you just get a sixth sense about something, that's your spirit coming through, because those always turn out to be right. And that's your spirit coming through. But the busier we are and the more that we are living in our egos and our minds, the less it's almost like you're putting a wall up, and your spirit doesn't come through, your sixth sense, your intuition, your God.
No, I get that.
So what we do is we would put our hands over our head and stand with our feet slightly apart, and you form your hands into a triangle so that the ends of your thumbs are touching and your fingers are forming a triangle. And you take deep breaths and you close your eyes and you say, I am present. I am listening. And I added on to that, I am grateful. And I start off my morning every day with that. And then, I've had friends say, so then what do you hear? And I say, well, maybe nothing, maybe everything. Maybe you hear a plane going by, or you hear the phone. But the point is, you're opening yourself. You're saying, I am present right here, right now with you.
Like
I am
acting.
Listening. I am open. Exactly.
You can't expect a result. So if you get a result, then that's great.
But Doug, since I've been doing that, and I do it every morning and every night, I have more things coming through to me now all the time than I ever did before. Things like, you lose something and immediately it comes through. Oh, there's where it is. Things that used to be all muddled in my brain. And it's so simple, but it really works. You just have to do it faithfully. But add the I'm grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful.
Well, I think grateful is
the key.
Is perhaps maybe the most important.
I do too. You have to be grateful. You have to, when you say that you're grateful, I'm in the habit of constantly thankful all day for those things. And when you do that, you have more things to give thanks for because your mind is open. I'll be in the shower and I'll say, thank you for this shower. Thank you for the source that delivers this water to the pipes that deliver, and then just bring it down to that. And am I thinking about, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that? I bring such a peace upon myself by doing that. It just works. It just absolutely works. And
every time I leave my dressing room, I thank my dressing room for providing an atmosphere of creativity and calm and quiet. Yeah.
And like that. And I know you do, and that was the thing that you were talking about before too. Is you have to learn to realize that everything is going to be all right. And if you're living in the moment, everything is all right, because at the end of your life, if you could go over every moment in your life, there's probably 96% that you didn't need or want anything at all. But,
no, right, and that's what I'm applying to the new power structure at the Young and the Restless. Is that I'm grateful that we have new, inspired people that are attempting to deliver to our faithful viewers the best show possible.
And they will. And, in the end, the one movie that was so cute, it was called The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. And it's these senior citizens from all different places. They don't know each other to begin. Well, a couple of them do. But they all go to this place in India that's supposed to be this wonderful retirement, beautiful, Shangri-La. And they all get there, and it's a rundown old hotel with this young Indian guy. And one thing that and one of his phrases is, he says that in the end, everything will be all right. If it isn't, it's not the end. And that's such a wonderful way to look at it. He says, don't worry. In the end, everything will be all right. If it isn't all right, it's not the end. I love that. I think that's great. And it's the truth. And speaking of the end, we're going to wind this up with you because you've been so generous, and we love you so much, Doug. Will you make a little clip for me? Just say, who you are and anything you want to say about your time with Olivia Wilder.
Okay. All right. This is Doug Davidson, Paul Williams on The Young and the Restless, and it's always nice to come back to center with Olivia on Blog Talk.
Oh, you're so sweet. Well, continued success with this storyline.
Hey, I'm sending love to you and everybody out there, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate your love, support, and compassion, and I'm grateful every day for all of that. I feel it even in my darkest moments, and it really touches me more than you can imagine. That's how I know. Truly. I just want to ask you real quick: do you have a cruise? It's a land-based trip in Mexico, and it's all available on Rick Springfield's website. And we're bringing back Brandon Barish, and I'm going to be there, and it'll be Old Home Week. Do you know when it'll be? And I think it's the first week of I'm thinking November 5th, but it's somewhere along those lines. But again, it's on Rick Springfield's website. Okay, so, we'll look it up. Well, thanks again, Doug. And it'll be on my Facebook page. I'll post it there too. Okay. It should be a great time. It's a new adventure, and it's not on a boat this time. So I like that. I might even go. I like that idea. It's really fun, and it's a great community, and it's really, really caring, fun, loving group of people. It sounds my kind of party. Yeah. All right, Olivia. Thanks so much. And we'll have to do this sooner than every 3 years or so. Yeah, I'm getting too old, Doug. You aren't, of course. You never do. You're like Dorian Gray, that picture or whatever that was. Yeah, but anyhow, we love you, and thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Take care. Love you, and talk to you soon. Okay. Bye-bye, Doug. Okay, bye-bye. Okay, everybody. I feel bad that I kept him so long because I know he's exhausted and he works so hard. He's been working all week shooting every single day, and he's got the family and the father and everything. So kudos to Doug for being such a wonderful, generous guest. Sunday I will be back 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern with my Art of Living show, and that is featuring, as I started to tell you, Simon Majumdar. He is a judge on Extreme Chef, which is starting on Food Network on Thursday the 16th. I think the 16th is Thursday.
he will be on that show. He's also on Iron Chef America. He's all over the place. And he wrote one of my favorite books called Eat My Globe. Check it out. It's a wonderful book about his stories of eating all over the world. And he's an interesting man, and we love his British accent. And I also have a pre-taped interview with Eden Grinchpan, who has a new show starting a week from tonight called Eden Eats on the Cooking Channel, and that's going to be a really good show. And I have live executive chef Jensen Cummings from Row 14 in Denver, and he's going to be talking to us about some really good stuff. So I hope you all will join me on Sunday. If you missed any part of this or any show, please do go to iTunes and subscribe. Do a search for podcast Olivia Wilder Times and subscribe for free. Hey, can't get better than that. Thank you so much, everybody, and especially a big thank you to Doug. We love him, and I love all of you for spending time with us tonight. Good night.
Blog Talk Radio, where millions of hosts and listeners gather.
Happening, and it's really hard when you get so many chefs in the kitchen. So it's really hard to respond to that. Everyone that has had that position subsequent to Bill Bell has really tried to do their best and do what they thought. Some of it I agree with, some of it I don't agree with. But I never felt ever that anyone in that position was trying to ruin it or change it, or I think everyone had the best intentions of putting the best show on the air as they possibly could, and I think that continues today. We had an actors meeting that Jill Farron Phelps called, and with Josh Griffith, who has been there before.
Yeah.
He was writing under Lynn Latham, and then he helped us through a very, very difficult time during the writer's strike.
Oh, I remember that.
He turned core and gave up a lot of what he'd earned to keep the show on the air. And he knows the show, at least the last 6 years or so.
Sure.
I mean, whenever Lynn Latham started, that's when he started. So he knows characters. So it's not like we have a new head writer that doesn't know anything about the show. I don't really understand any of the politics that have gone into the change, or and it's not really my position to comment on it. I will say that Bill Bell Sr. gave me my start, and I am supremely loyal to him, his wife, and his family. So, but that being said, I know in my heart of hearts that he would want the best show possible, even beyond his time on Earth. So, and I have every expectation that Jill Farron Phelps and Josh Griffith will try and make it the best show they possibly know how to make it. And as far as the decisions they make, they are empowered to make and follow what they think is the right thing to do. And as a company, I don't know that we have any choice but to remain united and stick together and continue to be loyal to our fans as
Exactly.
they have been loyal to us.
Yeah, I agree. It's very distressing. There has been a recent report that the plan is to turn it into a whole different kind of a show than it used to be, and to kind of ease out the senior characters, which is very distressing.
I've only heard that from the internet. I've got to tell you that my conversations with it's a story, it's fiction, and I'm not saying we shouldn't have them. I'm just saying that they enjoyed the show without having to relate to a quote unquote black storyline or
right.
Where they segment it now to attach it to we all can enjoy black storylines or white storylines or old storylines, or I think one of the most popular storylines in the 90s was the one where we had a bunch of old folks getting kicked out of their homes by a slumlord.
Mm-hmm.
And we had some of the cutest, most charming
old people,
old people that everybody related to.
Exactly. And
so that's what I mean by it. You don't have to be one to relate to one.
And you're right. And I first learned about soap operas from my grandmother, who watched As the World Turns. And I would hear that organ play or whatever it was back in the day when I was a little kid. And I would sit down when I was at her house and watch it with her. And I found myself as a child even thinking, oh, I can't wait to see what's going to happen tomorrow. And so then you grow up and there's a lot more to choose from, and you kind of pick and choose, and you get into these characters, although they're not real family, they become you know them so well after watching.
I get letters saying that I miss seeing my faces.
Yes.
And it's as simple as that. You get to know these people. They know how Paul's going to react. They know how Victor's going to react. They know how Nikki's going to react, because they are like family.
Yeah,
you're in their living room. I totally agree.
And so that's why it's just sometimes a slap in the face of the viewers who have watched for a long time to all of a sudden rewrite a character's whole persona, and you're saying, wait a minute, that's not what this person would do. So that gets a little frustrating, and that does happen.
I will say, and not in support, but in forgiveness, that there are so many people making so many demands on what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do, and you can't do this and you can't do that. So what happens is they try and please everybody, and it puts them in a very difficult position.
Sure.
So and that goes back to what I was saying earlier about, I don't think there was anyone that held that position that really didn't try and do their best and please everybody, but you can't do it. The thing was, Bill Bell was king, and nobody told him what to do. And he came in with things written on his napkins and his hand, but he's one in a million.
Yeah,
he's one in a million. I don't know how to say it any differently. That you don't. He was strong when he had to be, and compassionate when he had to be. We were lucky to have him as long as we did.
Oh God, yes. I mean, he.
Blog Talk Radio, the world's largest online radio network.
Hello, I am hoping this is you, Doug.
It is.
Oh, hi. How are you? I'm so
fine.
happy.
How are you doing?
I was looking back, and do you realize it's been 3 long years since we have spoken? That is too long. We're getting too old for this, Doug. We can't wait 3 years. We cannot wait 3 years for our next conversation. It's just too long.
Part of it was story related.
Oh, yeah, I said part of it was story related. How do you mean?
Well, when you get a hot storyline, then there's something to talk about.
Oh, but Doug, come on! You and I can talk about anything. We love love you even when there is no hot storyline, but God knows you have deserved a really hot storyline for a very long time.
It was great.
Yeah, and may I say, I am so glad that you got special dispensation to call from your jail cell. I'm very happy about that.
Well, I'm in the short-waisted orange jumper.
Yeah, it's not your color.
It's not my color, and it doesn't fit. That's the big thing.
Well, the other thing is it clashes with that suntan that you mysteriously got in jail. How did that happen?
Well, actually, it does fade because I tried to stay out of the sun once I was in jail.
Oh, you did, yeah. It's kind of hard, though. It's kind of hard living in California to stay out of the sun.
Especially in this weather.
Well, Doug, first of all, I am joining thousands of people that are absolutely mesmerized and awed by your amazing work. As Paul Williams, but as a father who, feels so much guilt and remorse over not raising his son. And then even though I think in your heart of hearts or in Paul's heart of hearts, he knows that Ricky was bad news, you still are filled with all of that remorse, and you're playing it so tenderly and in such a touching manner. It brings me to tears all the time, I have to tell you.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks. I'm glad I make you cry.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, that's our job is to
I know.
is to make you feel what our characters are feeling, and certainly it's been a tough time for Paul. It was, I think, the brainchild of Tony Marino, which is one of our producers, and he suggested it to the writing staff, and they ran with it. They wove it together in a pretty interesting fashion, creating a story for a bunch of veteran characters on the show, and it's been really fun to play with Laura Lee and Trish, and even Michelle when they put her into the brought up the hit and run thing again,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was good. I'm glad they brought that back because I am sure I'm not the only one that's sick to death of Phyllis getting away with murder. I'm sick of her. I want her to go to the big house, and I want her to stay there for a good long time.
Yeah, let her have a short-waisted orange jumper.
You know what? I think that orange jumper that you're wearing would probably fit her perfectly, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, I think it was Sharon's. I think we have one jumper.
Oh my God, that's so funny. You're right, and so many people get to wear it. I know. Yeah. This is something, as a very, very, very long time. We've talked about this before. I've been watching since 1975. Yes, I was a year old, but hey. I was very ahead of my time. And I have seen such a change over the years that, of course, has distressed me among many other long-time fans of the show, and even the sister show, Bold and Beautiful, the Bell dramas. And one thing that has distressed me is the last couple of years. It's turned into like a little CSI show. And it's just like one jail thing after another. And have you noticed that? Am I the only one here?
I don't. It in the beginning, and when I started a couple of years after 3 maybe after you started viewing, and it was a character-driven show, and it was about 2 or 3 families, either the Brooks and the Fosters and the Chancellors, or the Williams and the Abbotts and the Newmans. And it was about the trials and tribulations of the people in those families. And as it percolated through the last 12 years or so, through the hands of different head writers, I mean, let's see, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're up to 5 now. You know, and the first 25 years was all by the hand of Bill Bell. So you can't expect people to completely get inside the head of Mr. Bell.
No.
And they lean to where they function the best. They also that he created, and not an easy task even in those days, to create his own show and then maintain his own show, because he maintained the ability to do it by himself and not have any input from Sony or CBS or any other entity.
Mm-hmm.
So it was his baby, and he was given those reins, and he earned them, and that was that. But now it's a different story, you know.
Sure.
He's the guy that created the show, so everybody thinks they have an idea and a better idea than is what's happened. Steve Kent at Sony, and hearing what Jill had to say today, and also the way Josh Griffith writes, I haven't heard any of that from, or even CBS for that matter. So I don't know where it's coming from. You know, they've had Hollywood Heights is not The Young and the Restless. But I do know that when I spoke with Steve Kent, he and I agreed on the fact that we need to be loyal to our longtime viewers.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if they're telling me what I want to hear, or it's how they honestly believe. But I felt each of those people were very sincere when they were speaking with me.
Well, you know, and I agree with everything you say, you know, being an outsider, just a viewer, but of course the viewers are what keeps the show on the air and makes it number one. I don't believe that any new head of a network or whatever would come in and cut off their nose to spite their face. They're going to have to appeal to a wide spectrum of people, and it would be a huge mistake to lose the longtime viewers, because the longtime viewers have grown up and brought their children into watching it, their children and so forth.
If the truth be known, and if the truth be known, that the only way we got young viewers was because they were sitting on the lap of their aunt or their grandmother or their mom, and somewhere along the line, corporate thinking didn't realize that that's how the tradition of watching daytime dramas happened. I mean, everybody, every young person I talk to, it's not a promo, it's not an ad, it's not a sexy face or a shirtless guy or a sexy broad. It's the fact that, you know, my mom started me watching this, and it's the same story for my entire tenure on the show. It's always happened. And the other thing that we've talked about is you don't need to be one to want to be interested in one. And I mean that in the broadest sense. I remember going to malls across the country and having young 14-year-old girls that I thought were hot for me, and perhaps they were. But the question they would ask would be, what's Mrs. Chancellor really like? She reminds me like my grandmother, or so it doesn't really mean that you need a 14-year-old for a 14-year-old to watch. In the 70s, we had the largest African American viewing audience, and at that time, we had very few African Americans on the show. So